chasing the rabbit so you don't have to. Here they are, Mark and Don, the two crazy guys.
Hey, welcome to another broadcast episode of the Two Crazy Guys, broadcasting on Contra Radio Network and KYAH 540 AM, Utah's Talk Authority. By the way, there is a brand new release of the ContraRadioNetwork.com. Log on to that website, man. It's looking good. A lot of videos on there now, and our web developer is hard at work on that, making that look absolutely stunning. So good job. High five to the web developer. My name is Donald Lowry, aka Big D, and on the other side of the screen there, you'll see Mark Boyle, aka Prepper Guy. What's going on today, bud?
Oh heck, just about everything and nothing. I've been having internet problems all day, so let's see if this works today. But talking about our high-tech website, it's been giving me a hard time.
Yeah.
It's just...
By the way, I'll let the cat out of the bag. Mark Boyle is the web developer, and kudos to you, bud. It looks really good, man.
Yeah, I'm almost in the middle of changing it again because that theme I'm using is just giving me a hard time. But it's automated, but it's not that automated. So
yeah,
I've been thinking about doing it like American One News Network. You know, it's got a nice look to it, but I don't want to look like them totally. Yeah,
see, I did Red State Underground. I don't remember what theme it is, but it's really easy to do, and I do all the work on that. And it, I haven't been keeping up with it like I should. I try to do weekly updates when I do my podcasts, but Red State Underground is looking okay. Contra Radio Network is looking fabuloso. Oh, and by the way, really good job on twocrazyguys.com. That site's looking cool. Just lots going on in the internet realm. And Mark, I don't know, is it me or does it seem like we're being fed the same line of crap that we got fed in 2016 with these polls?
I'm thinking so, yeah. Our dietary needs haven't changed, I guess, when it comes to the news. Just feed us more crap.
Well, there's a story out there on the Hill. Former Vice President Joe Biden and Senator Elizabeth Warren are statistically tied with President Trump in Arizona, a state that hasn't voted for a Democratic president candidate in a quarter century.
Oh my goodness.
According to a new poll. This is the same garbage that in fact, I remember them feeding us this line. Hillary Clinton stands a 100% chance of winning the election. Donald Trump at 0. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do. And I thought Arizona was going to vote for her too. I think what they do is they just pull that article out of their archives, dust it off, change the names.
Yeah.
And put a new cover picture on it. Because, God forbid that, reporters actually think.
Yeah.
That'd be like us.
Hey, there's also a conservative radio host, quote, conservative, unquote, radio host,
right,
who is thinking about running against Donald Trump. Dude, ding-a-ling-a-ling, newsflash, you're going to get squashed like a grape, man.
Yeah. I think that's just really kind of backstabbing. You're the head of the Republican Party. You're the president. You don't throw stuff in front of, the quarterback, basically.
Right.
He should run opposed in the Republican Party.
Right. Yeah. Well, I don't know, man.
Unless he's just an idiot, but he's not.
These guys, look, Donald Trump is going to win by a landslide. I don't care. Oh yeah, there's another poll.
Ooh,
that's
polls.
Right, ladies and gentlemen. There's another poll, and that poll says that Donald Trump has a 62% disapproval rating.
Among Democrats, they probably left that out.
Which
means he still has a 38% approval rating with Democrats.
Let's see. Shock poll, Trump disapproval at 62%. This is NORC poll, 62% disapproval of how Trump is handling his job. About 6 in 10 Americans disapprove of President Donald Trump's overall job performance, according to a new poll released Thursday. Hold on.
Wow, I guess I'll just go shoot myself then, if I believe polls.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Let's see. Come on. Trying to pull up this article.
Oh yeah,
Having internet issues.
oh, yeah, I know. It's I don't know what it is. Is it the rain? Because I thought the internet was rock solid in America, but maybe it's the NSA. I've been saying some really bad things about police and sheriffs and
Yeah, this is the
Big Brother.
APNORC poll. And so I don't know, man. Yeah, it's just the same garbage that they fed us in 2016.
Yeah, it's not like it's a real poll, like an actual polling company that's been trusted and around for 50 to 100 years.
Well, even then, I don't even trust them.
You know, it's Billy Bob and Hillary's, poll company.
Probably.
You know,
I don't know, but it's just it's unbelievable to me that these Democrats, they will they're trying to play the same game they played in 2016. Okay, this what this reminds me of? Bernie Sanders and his healthcare plan, Medicare for All, that failed miserably, in Vermont. And but he's going to try to. That's what he's running on. That's his healthcare program. That's a miserable failure,
right.
but he's still trying to play it. Just like the whole poll thing back in 16, it was a miserable failure, but they're still trying to play the game.
They'll play it. I mean, that's the game and that's their rules. I would almost say that it's not so much the Democrats as the media, but then that's kind of one and the same. Because they're just running and spewing garbage like they always do. It's just like a big garbage truck going down the road and everything falling off of it. But it's the media that's just feeding all these lies to us. And you could actually look at those polls, and then if you were to do a Google search and some of the Facebook searches, you would see that there would be 60% of people not looking for Trump because they've their algorithms have cut out all that.
Right.
And so you'd almost believe it. You'd say, well, when I did a Google search, or I'm looking at all these social media sites, apparently there's more support for the Democrats, and not make that synaptic jump and go, oh, because big tech is trying to sway the election. So
right.
It's media and big tech and all that.
You can't believe anything you search in Google, because that's all skewed data.
Yeah.
All of that stuff, Yahoo, Google, all that is skewed data. Anything on social media is skewed data. Right. Any of the polls that are out there is all skewed data. It's gotten to the point where you don't know who to believe.
No, you don't. I mean, if you look at it like you were looking through a video camera and people were feeding in, limited images, you're going to think what you see is actual reality. And, Google's got some great statistics and information out there. They know everything. Sure. They're just not letting it drip through.
Right.
That's where their algorithm kicks in and says, nope.
Yep.
So,
yep.
The average American would look at those polls and go, yeah, that sounds about right. Well, no, it doesn't, but that's what they're going to, think, because.
Yeah. That's what they saw on Google. It's what they saw on Facebook. It's what they saw on Twitter. It's what they saw on YouTube.
It used to be that, well, they still have that section in Walmart, as seen on TV.
Yeah.
As if because you saw it on TV, it was so real.
Yeah.
But then people started thinking, Yeah, I saw a Wookiee on TV too. That doesn't make it true. So now it's become as seen on Google and as seen on Facebook. It's like, oh, please give me a break.
Right,
you know,
right.
the old people used to say, believe none of what you hear and half of what you see.
Exactly.
And maybe they knew, maybe they were onto something.
I don't know, but it's just it's hilarious to me to see that their little game failed miserably last time, and they're trying to spoon feed the same nonsense
Same.
over again.
Well, that's their
Same
playbook.
pig, different lipstick, man.
Yep.
They
Well,
took the pig, they took him outside, they gave it a bath, they pulled all the lipstick off, they put new lipstick on and brought the same pig back in, and now they're trying to show you the same pig and try to make it look like it's a different pig.
Yeah, they put a different dress on it too. I
yeah,
guess,
man. It just,
guess they're trying.
I guess they're trying. And, to a point, they're successful because a lot, like you said, people, just Google it. I hear it all the time, how do you know that? Google it.
Right.
Really? So you're going to believe what Google tells you?
Yeah, it's one thing if you're looking on Google Scholarship or whatever, or Scholar, if you're looking for information, they're not going to have algorithms to hide a lot of information from you, whether it's like building a house or something. But boy,
Right.
if you want to know about conservative issues, gun rights, all that, they will skew the heck out of that.
Yeah, man.
They
sure will.
It's very conditional with them folks there at Google.
But it's not just Google, it's all of them.
Yeah.
I think there's one DuckDuckGo or something like that is supposed to be kind of more neutral. I've been kind of playing around with it a little bit, but so I don't want to make it sound like I am promoting that, but it almost seems like if you do the same search on Google and then do the same search on DuckDuckGo, you almost get some different results.
Huh. I'm wondering because it seems like, Google's got, if you had percentages of who has information, Google has 100% of it.
Yeah.
These other search engines might only have 20%. So even if you got 100% accurate results from, a different search engine, you're still getting a lot less, but at least maybe the information's less skewed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so it might be worth looking into just by virtue of that. I got to read you this card my liberal friend in Bisbee sent me after we had that conversation we talked about last week.
Oh boy.
I'll do that.
Can you hold off? Can you hold off until we come back from the break?
Yeah, I'll bounce it off you in the break, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, perfect. All right, we're going to take a break. We will be back. Do not go with Mark's letter. Do not go away.
The letter.
So are you tired of being tired? Well, then it's time to get the tea. Hey, it's Lisa here to tell you about this all-natural, all-organic tea I've been drinking that has had great results for over 20 years. It's called Life Change Tea, and it's specially formulated to help detoxify and cleanse your kidneys, liver, colon, and blood all at once. The colon is one of the most ignored organs in the human body. The faster that waste is eliminated from the body, the less time that waste sits in our intestines, spreading toxins toxins to our bloodstream. This tea helps cleanse chemicals caused by outside intruders from our entire digestive system. And get this, weight loss can be a side effect. And with continued use of the tea, you can experience clearer, healthier, younger looking skin, increased energy, and a happier outlook on life. So if you're tired of being tired, get the Life Change Tea at getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. And like me, you'll be glad you did.
This is Contra Radio Network, internet radio for the discerning prepper and patriot.
Hi, this is John Jeffers, inviting you to listen to my show, The Jeffers Brief. You know, on The Jeffers Brief, we discuss topics of interest and concerns for preppers and patriots. And you can only find us on the Contra Radio Network on podbean.com or KYAH 540 AM, Utah's Talk Authority. Hope you join me, and we'll talk to you then.
Talking the issues and taking the hit. Here they are, the two crazy guys.
Okay, and welcome back to segment 2. Quick reminder again, log on to ContraRadioNetwork.com. It's all new. Mark is working on it. It may be new again. So, hey, before the break, we talked. Mark brought up a letter. Actually, it's a card. Why don't you talk about the card, Mark?
Card. Well, I'll show it to the audience that are watching while I talk about it. But
and you can watch the videos over on ContraRadioNetwork.com and twocrazyguys.com.
Yeah, well, this is the guy I had been talking to in a couple of my podcasts for, I don't know, a good hour and a half, and we were just debating this, mass shootings and gun laws and red flag things and stuff. And so him being a flaming liberal, nice guy, he's a decent guy and he cares about America and he was in the military and all that, but he's just way out there when it comes to the gun laws and stuff. So he sent me this card. It's like, thanks for arranging the carpet guy, because I'd sent someone over to lay some carpet in this house. I know it took some effort on your part. You'll get your reward in heaven, and then in parentheses, or maybe not. And if you know the guy, it was, to me, it was kind of like a thing saying, hey, after all of our arguing and debating, still a thumbs up kind of thing, and so I thought it was kind of funny. So I laughed for a good 10 minutes. I was going to call him, but then I thought, no, I don't want to talk another 2 hours about liberal versus conservative. Right. It's tiring.
Yes.
But I'd made some points to him that I put in my last couple podcasts about. I honestly think these mass shootings are a result of just too much regulation. It's just too many brick walls, and I don't mean to make light of it. Like there was a kid got arrested in Florida for making a threat on a video game, and then they it went through all these kids that are being arrested for. They're not. I mean, they're making threats, but not really. No more than you or I or anybody else has ever done in a talking to friends on a private chat or whatever.
Sure.
And and it's no different than going, yeah, my wife ought to divorce her. You're never going to do that. But, it's guy talk. It's locker room talk, basically.
Yeah.
And so these red flag laws are getting way out of control. And I'm looking at this kid, and one of the things I brought up in one of my podcasts was, you look at your life going from, first grade all the way through high school, and just the regulations you run into. You eat your sandwich and it looks like a gun, and they shut the school down. It's a peanut butter and jelly sandwich gun. Nobody's going to get hurt.
You saw that one where the kid had the Pop-Tart in the school, and he chewed it out, and it looked like a gun, and he got suspended.
Yeah.
A grade schooler, man.
Yeah. So when you think about all of the many things you run into, brick wall after brick wall in your life, no wonder people get, 20, 30 and snap, all the stuff soldiers returning, veterans have gone through and
Yeah.
all this. And it's like, and I was talking to someone the other day. I said, and I think I made the point in my podcast. It's like, it's not the gun, because even in the Wild West,
Yeah.
connotations of just crazy people killing everybody for no apparent reason.
Right.
They had Gatling guns back then.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a semi-automatic. If as fast as you can crank that thing, you're taking out people. And those were what, 50 caliber?
Yeah.
They could have put that on a stagecoach, rode into any Western town in America, and killed everybody in town
Yeah.
before they could mount a posse, because they didn't have SWAT teams back then.
Right.
And yet that didn't happen back then, because people weren't inundated with just the government having this ginormous microscope up our rear end 24/7.
Yeah.
But that's just my theory. I could be wrong. I'm willing to accept
That's a good
that.
theory. It sounds like you know what you're talking about anyway. Even
That's good.
yeah. So Mark's got some crazy friends, myself included, and
Case in point.
you are all invited to log on to Contra Radio Network and meet the rest of the Nut Hut.
I like that. The Nut Hut. Yeah.
Yeah. So we were talking about the polls, and we've. You know what? We can talk about the presidential candidates if you want, Mark.
Oh, yeah. Pocahontas and Sleepy Joe, or whatever Trump's going to call him. Dopey Joe.
Dopey Joe.
I bet you could give them all Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs names. Sleepy, Dopey. I can't remember all their names.
It's going to be interesting to start seeing when some of these folks are going to start dropping out. We talked in the last program, we talked about the rankings, and they haven't really changed much since then. And I look for Cory Booker to be coming. I mean, the guy can't even poll 2% within his own party.
Yeah.
It's pretty sad.
Every picture of him, he's just like got his mouth open and he's stuffing food in it or something. It's like he makes some of the craziest faces.
Yeah.
But he can't poll that well. And Buttigieg, who is like the savior, is now
Beto.
Yeah, good old Beto. All these guys, just it's interesting. I can hardly wait until the real debates start. Once we filter through all the nuts.
The child play, yeah.
Yeah, and then that once Trump gets there, he's just going to shred them. I haven't seen one person, just evaluating him as someone that studied debate in school and stuff. They don't have a chance. They don't have the intellect.
Not right now, they don't.
The wit, the charisma. They don't have a platform to stand on that they could kind of defend and make a point. It's hard to argue about a sieve holding water. It's just, and that's what they're up against. Yeah.
So there was another story. Fox News signs Sarah Huckabee Sanders.
Oh, nice.
I wish she would have gone to One America News.
Yeah. Take a pay cut and go there, because
I'd actually like to see her run for governor over there.
Yeah, that'd be nice. And maybe that's why she's doing this. She wanted to cool her jets for a while, and
it's hard to say. I know she's a fireball, man.
Yeah. Well, and then I was reading an article where Obama, now I remember him and Michelle when they got, he got elected. Yeah. She had a job as a director of a hospital. That's good money, a couple $100,000 a year.
Yeah.
And then he was a Harvard law professor, supposedly. So,
yeah, even though we've never seen any of his transcripts.
Right. So I guess if you took both their incomes, which would make a nice home income for a family of four, maybe $400,000 a year. 200 and some after taxes. They just bought a $15 million home on a lake somewhere.
How do you do that?
I guess his books are selling really well.
They have to be.
And public speaking, I guess.
Oh, well, he is working with Netflix too. They might be paying him pretty well.
Yeah, because everybody's watching that show.
I'm not. I don't even have Netflix.
We had an eight-year reality show of the Obamas. It's like, please, no more.
Yeah,
and then their house in D.C. is valued at $9 million.
Well, I mean, Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah,
but
but isn't her husband rich already, or is that the other crazy lady Feinstein? I think both of their husbands were rich before they got into it, and it was more of a joined a social club and decided to run for whatever they're in.
Yeah.
It's just, Washington politics is such a joke.
Yeah, well, it's funny, Bernie Sanders. There's another one.
Yeah.
And these guys, they're all campaigning against the very system that made them rich.
Yeah. I'm waiting for one of their campaign people to call me and ask for money, because then I was just going to ask them to, make a charitable donation on my behalf to the Sanders party, because that is socialism.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, thanks for the call. Have Bernie write me a check for $10,000 and I'll cut him a check back for half of that.
Yeah, there you go.
See how that goes over. Yeah, Bernie is a real work of art. He's what kind of car does he drive?
Yeah.
He's got one of those Acura. They're like a couple $100,000 cars.
Yeah.
I should have went into politics.
I did. It's not fun.
Well, you got to work your way up. You got to crawl through the swamp before you can dive into the swamp.
Well, people have been trying to, talk me into doing it again. And I don't know, man. We'll see.
Well, there's half of me, the more I get politically involved and start freaking out about the way the country's going, maybe I ought to run for mayor and where I live. And, and it's like, God, no. It's like a church calling. It's just too demanding of my time.
It is. When I ran, so I ran for city council here. I lost by like 100 votes, which is nothing in the political spectrum.
No.
But it was so demanding of every. Not only do you have to go out and collect signatures and walk and talk and knock on doors and talk to people, but you got to show up to all the debates, which in itself isn't too bad. But you got to go to all the parades and all of that stuff. And
oh my God,
I
don't like parades.
So demanding of, just about every moment. And then as far as a private life is concerned, you might as well forget about that, because then, once you start getting people to know who you are, then it's everywhere you go.
Right.
And, so
you have to go out and meet the plebes. Is that what you're saying?
Well, you have to go out and hobnob with the deplorables and whatnot. But, I ran a nonpartisan. I was in a nonpartisan election.
Right. And
so I wasn't running on a party platform. But most people knew who I was and what I stood for. And, my thing was that, infrastructure, that kind of thing, protect and serve the people. That's kind of what I ran on. And people want free stuff, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You can't give away more free stuff than Santa Claus. And that's what the Democrat Party's become.
Well, so listen, speaking of free stuff, this time slot isn't free and we have to pay for it. And so we're going to go take a minute. We're going to take a minute and listen to our sponsors and hopefully help cover some of the costs of the program. We'll be back right after this, so don't go away.
Black Metal Firearms are a couple guys I know personally and friends of mine that put together some great accessories for all your firearms needs. Everything that I've seen them do is just top-notch and very nice looking. BlackMetalFirearms.com. Check them out. I think you'll be glad you did. Go to Facebook, Black Metal Firearms. They got a great page there too. Learn more about the workmanship and the craftsmanship they put into every accessory and every build they do.
Times are changing. The circus of politics, healthcare's low standards and high prices, and let's not forget food quality. What to do? Arm yourself with Life Change Tea at GetTheTea.com. In a world of chemical imbalance and poor air and water quality, it's time you make a move. Log on to GetTheTea.com and stock up on organic non-GMO supplements. Don't forget the tea. Cleansing your body never felt so good. And we have a brand new tea called Takedown Tea, which helps support healthy glucose. All natural body support so you can be at your best, naturally. All you have to do is log on to GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. We're not a fad that comes and goes. We are the real deal. Join us and armor up. GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. Changing America's health one tea bag at a time.
This is Contra Radio Network, internet radio for the discerning prepper and patriot.
Welcome back. We are in segment 3. 2 are in the can already. On today, you're listening to ContraRadioNetwork.com, or you're on KYAH 540 AM, Utah Stock Authority. You could be listening to us on one of the podcast hosting services, of course, on YouTube and all those other good places out there. So, in any case, we'd like to thank you for joining us. And as always, we invite you to participate with our sponsors. And, that's how we kind of help cover costs. Anyway, Mark, what else have we got to go with today, buddy?
Well, I know you wanted to stay away from this subject, but I want to chat about it anyway. Maybe we can ask some of our listeners who are probably way smarter than you and I.
Here we go.
But you did read that article on the Electoral College, and I'm like you. As much as I kind of know about it,
yeah,
there's a lot of nuances because it really never took effect, just like the federal government didn't take effect until we ratified the Constitution in 1789 or something like that.
Right.
So I was always under the impression that the electors did what the representatives in the state told them to vote.
That's
because
correct.
That's how we had a representative republic. So
Correct.
all I had to do was worry about electing my neighbor as my representative before gerrymandering anyway. And then the 10 electors or whatever from each state went and voted based on the consensus of the state, but it left it more democratic because of, it's kind of weird, but that new court ruling, is making it sound like it was a victory for the Electoral College, but then as you read into it more, maybe
Right,
not so much.
So the headline, it says, Federal Court undercuts progressive efforts to nullify Electoral College, rules electors can vote freely. And then it says, in a major blow to the state-by-state progressive efforts to effectively replace the Electoral College with a nationwide popular vote, a federal appeals court ruled on Tuesday that presidential electors in the Electoral College have the absolute right to vote for presidential candidates of their choice. Democrats, it goes on to say, Democrats have increasingly sought to erase the Electoral College's influence by promoting state laws that would force electors to vote for the national popular vote winner. And those laws were now in jeopardy as a result of the court's ruling, legal experts said.
Okay, well, they're
And then it goes
experts.
on into some more mumbo jumbo.
Well,
But,
and see, I guess no matter how bad they want to skew what the Electoral College is or how it works, it's still better than popular vote. So I guess it's kind of a victory, to slap down some of these states that want to do away with it or do popular vote, which we have when we elect our representative. But when it gets into the gray area, as far as what are they talking about as far as the Electoral College and how it works. So maybe somebody, I'll have to watch some videos and stuff on that by smarter people than me. But so I guess it's kind of a victory.
well, yeah, but I mean, they're not free to vote for who they choose for. They're supposed to vote for who the representation says to vote for.
Right.
They can't just, that the electors can't just go and vote rogue, whatever they want. They have to, the way the Electoral College is laid out is that they have to give their vote for who the representatives say, which is based on who the people say.
Right. That's what makes it representative.
So you go to the poll and you vote, and then those votes are sent up to the state capitol. They're counted. Whatever those votes that the majority of the votes vote for, then the representative casts their vote for that candidate. And that's who the electoral representative is supposed to cast their ballot for. They can't just vote for whoever they want.
Right. Well, and I was always under the impression that we'd never even voted for presidents or senators before FDR's little fiasco in the 17th Amendment. So really, we just all we ever had to do is every 2 years vote for representatives and then get on with our lives. So it's the ultimate in term limits. It's just 2 years. I mean, you can have a bad 2-year winter. It's like it wasn't the end of the world. So I always thought that the electors had to, I don't know why they had so many of them. Well, you only need one for the state. If all the state representatives had a majority for Joe Blow, back then it was George Washington. Then he won the Electoral College. So I don't know. They've messed it up and muddied the water as always. But yeah, so that's something for our listeners and people on the podcast and stuff to maybe do a little digging into, because it's a very serious issue. It's one of our founding principles and cornerstones to the foundation that makes America, or keeps us a representative republic and therefore free.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. It's I know people that can quote the Bible inside and out, but this is going to throw a lot of them off, and they're going to go, oh, gee, I have to read the Constitution? All 3,000 words? Find any more interesting stuff in there, or are we just?
Well, no. I'm just blown away. I don't know, man. We'll have to wait and see how this plays out. We're just gonna have to wait and see how it pans out. And see what happens with this.
But I think
that's the only thing we can do.
It's worth looking into because
they're trying to undermine the entire election system anyway.
Right.
Because they can't win, so they have to cheat.
And I always think it's funny that when Trump won, then they hate the Electoral College. When Obama won by the Electoral College twice, it was fine.
Oh yeah.
When Bush won by the Electoral College,
he stole the election.
Yeah. But when Clinton won by the Electoral College, because that's the only way you become president. Every president had to win the Electoral College. So Republican and Democrat, throughout all history. But every time a Republican wins, boy, we got to rethink this Electoral College. And that's where the media gets in there. And that's why I thought it was an interesting subject to bring up for the show, because on Fox News they were talking to what's her name, that was Bush's press secretary, blonde girl, I just forgot her name, she was, going on and on about the electoral college and that she's an expert in it and that's her passion. And it's like, well, okay, they're starting to talk about it on the media, and we need to know, because just because they say they're an expert doesn't mean they're an expert. I mean, you have to do your own homework. It's because that's how it works in America.
Right.
We don't elect a king. We elect representatives.
Right. See, each state. So you're actually not really directly voting for the president. Each state has what's the word I'm looking for here? They get a certain number of electoral votes based on its population.
Right.
Okay.
Which would be based on, which is the same for representatives. It was supposed to be like 20,000 people had one representative, which would mean, that the House of Representatives would be, well, there'd have to be 20 of them across the nation because there would be so many of them, which I think is fine. It's okay with me. But, and then I guess you got a percentage of how many representatives you had for the electors, but how they were told how to vote. I never thought they had free will in this. They were just like glorified mailmen back in the day that would go to Washington and cast their vote.
Right.
Because we didn't have the internet.
Yeah. So I think you need 270 votes is the magic number of electoral votes that you need to win the presidency.
Right. And that makes up a majority.
The electors are actually appointed by the political parties in each state. So if you vote for, I don't know, all right, Donald Trump on Tuesday, and Mr. Trump ends up winning the popular vote in your state, then electors that the Republican Party has chosen will cast their votes for him in their state capitals. That's the way it's supposed to work.
Which is
they're not allowed to just vote for whoever they want.
Right, because then you're getting, doesn't matter what the people say in any state, even California, because let's say Californians all voted for, Bernie Sanders, and then the 10 electors or whatever it was, 20 of them got to Washington and said, no, we're voting for Trump. I mean, you still lost your vote. So
right.
The Electoral College is actually perfect popular vote because it just narrows down the screaming voices to a few, but it's still based on what everyone in that state voted.
Exactly.
And how they felt about it.
It is still the popular vote. It is still the popular vote. However, it's not the popular vote as the Democrats want it to be, where you have all of the votes in the whole country are tallied up, and then that's whoever won that popular vote is who wins. And it can't work that way, because just based on population in California and New York alone, they have more population in those two states than most of the other states all combined. Right. So that in that form of popular vote, then you'd be screwed.
Right.
But this way you have, you do have a popular vote, but it's by each state.
Right. And it's proportionalized. So even a small state has the same clout.
Right. Exactly.
So it makes sense if people would just quit and getting all knee-jerk reactions and just shut up and go vote for Trump.
Yeah, it does make it fair, because like you said, a small state now has the exact same clout as the larger state of California does, based on the Electoral College. And that's what the pure genius of our Constitution, of our country, of the founding of the Republic is all about. And so I don't know. We're just going to have to wait and see how it plays out. But guess what, Mark? We're already out of time in this segment.
See? We're not even done beating this dead horse.
Listen, folks, we'll be back right after this. Don't go away.
Hey folks, guess what the number one phrase that Life Change Tea receives by email? You ready? We love this tea. We love this tea. Time after time, week after week, we love this tea. Life Change Tea gives you more energy, a beautiful cleansing, and fulfills its slogan perfectly. The tea that makes you go. So if you want to be on your health game, log on to getthetea.com and order Life Change Super Strength Tea. Packages come in a 1-month supply, and when you brew this stuff, wait until you see the results. Aren't we all about the results? And with a lot of people's health struggling, we can use a little bit of help. Doctors will tell you disease starts in the gut. So log on to getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. Be our next email saying, I love this tea. I love this tea. Get the tea at getthetea.com. Helping America one tea bag at a time.
Okay, segment 4. All 3 are in the can. This is the last segment of today's program. Boy, we've been all over the map today too, haven't we, Mark?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Of course, you had to drag us into the electoral the last segment. So
What did you think of my analogy of a house full of 1,000 people? And, did it make sense? Because, that was in the green room.
Why don't you wrap it up with that?
Because I don't know if I can say it twice. Well, I think, and you can add in your thing too. Like if you had a house with a bunch of rooms in it and you had 2,000 people over there, and you want to decide on what's for dinner, Chinese food or pizza. Everyone goes into their room, 100 people in each room. They pick one person. They all discuss it, and then that one person comes out and votes. And then all the rooms come out. So now you only have 10 people voting and screaming and yelling. And then once you tally up the vote, it's pizza or whatever.
That's right.
So everybody
exactly
got to be heard and everyone got to vote in that room. It's just not a disaster going on.
So you have 10 rooms, and each room has their individuals, right? And they have a choice between Chinese or Oriental food and pizza, right?
Right.
So one room comes out, everybody in one room, you get 3/4 of the room says pizza, and the rest of the room, the other quarter of the room says Oriental. So they all tell that one guy, the spokesman for that room, what they want, and because 3/4 of the room said pizza, then he's going to say pizza when he comes out of that room.
Right.
So then you move on to the next room. The next room is just the opposite. So now you have 3/4 of the room saying Oriental and 1/4 of the room saying pizza. Well, that guy's going to vote for Oriental.
Correct.
Okay. So then the next room, and it goes all the way like that, who gets the most votes out of all of those 10 people that are told the first room said pizza, the second room said Oriental, the third room said pizza, the fourth room said pizza, the fifth room said Oriental, the seventh, whatever, and you end up with more votes for pizza. So those 10 people come out into the main house and they say, okay, we're going to vote for this, and the one that has the most wins. And of course, in this example, pizza wins, so pizza is what's for dinner.
Right, and it's
and in the Electoral College, so you'll need 270 people saying pizza to get the pizza in the whole country.
Yeah, because it's a big house.
Right.
A lot of
rooms.
rooms.
Up with 200. So
but you
we actually have more than 10 rooms. Well, I actually have more than 10 rooms in this example to make. We'll have 270 rooms. How's that?
Right. or whatever it is. There's 500.
Whatever it is. Yeah. But so that's how the Electoral College works, people.
And it makes sense mathematically because in every room, everyone got their voice heard.
Yeah.
And they debated it, and then everyone's okay. They're all, they agree, and so everyone got their vote. They might all just stick a piece of paper in a hat, and then they count them out, and they go, "This room is decided on pizza."
Right.
And so,
however they do it doesn't matter. Bottom line is the individual that is representative of that room is going to cast his vote for whatever that room decides it wants.
Right. And if he goes out and casts a vote for Oriental when they voted on pizza, I doubt he's going to be very comfortable when he goes back in that room and gets, beat up.
And that's why I said the story that we talked about. That's why I said the story that we talked about doesn't make sense, because they can't vote for whoever they want.
No, because they would be denying the rights of the people in that room. They all worked it out. You're just the messenger, to go do what the people once again have said. So, I think it's the perfect popular vote, but it's funneled down to less chaos, which we all know both parties, the DNC
That's
and the
exactly
RNC, they like the dog and pony show, the debates, the nomination process, which has nothing to do with the president, at all. It's just the first round draft of the NFL, really. They're two corporations that have nothing to do with the American election system the way it was set up, other than make a ton of money off of it.
Yeah. So that's why it's important for you folks out there listening to know the difference between the Electoral College and the popular vote. Because if you think that the popular vote is the answer to the problem, you're absolutely wrong. And I forgot to mention in our example of the rooms, one room may have 10 people in it, one room may have 30 people in it, one room may have 5 people in it, but using that same process in each room, the whoever it is that they choose to represent them they still all have their voice, but it's he still has the same amount of vote as the room with 5 people still has the same amount of authority for pizza or Oriental food as the room with 30 people in it.
Right. So you can see that it is really fair. When everyone talks about popular vote and let's make it fair, it's more fair doing it the other way, because then everyone is heard. Otherwise, you just have 2 rooms that have more people, so they voted for pizza or Oriental food. And all the other rooms, it doesn't matter. They might as well have just sat there and watched TV and waited for food to show up, because their opinion was void at that moment when it became popular vote.
If you go to the popular vote and you have 2 rooms that have 100 people and they vote for pizza, then all of the other rooms that have 5 or 10 people in them, it doesn't matter. They're going to get pizza.
Right. And that's why they say, that's why it would be horrible for the flyover states, as these, jerks in Washington call it.
Right.
Because they're just totally ignored. And it's oversimplifying, but I think the Constitution is actually quite simple when you look at it. Especially the election, and then when you factor in that we only voted for representatives every 2 years, all this other stuff is just for making money in advertising, I guess.
That's all it is, man. Manipulating the system.
Yeah, because you had much better chance of being a nobody like Abraham Lincoln was, and going out and getting elected to the Electoral College.
Who was your favorite president, Mark?
Oh, geez. I could probably say my least favorite would be Andrew Jackson, but I liked Reagan. He made some screw ups. Heck, even George Washington made some screw ups. John Adams was good.
I'd have to say it's a toss up between Abraham Lincoln and George Washington.
Yeah. See, now I still have issues with Abraham Lincoln because he did suspend habeas corpus and he had no constitutional authority to do that.
Okay.
But so what? Then, Reagan wanted to, be a real conservative, but then he did the amnesty thing and never finished plugging the hole. So I guess every president's had their strong suits and their weak points,
Right.
I've never looked at a president as being the end all be all to me in my life. It's do they follow the Constitution, which would keep them outside the country? Like, mind your own damn business. You're not here to create jobs, or that's the representatives' jobs to
Exactly.
to represent the state. And really, the president's
Which they
just
do a
the
horrible
gardener.
job at.
Yeah, he's the gardener that deals with external things. And I don't want the gardener coming into my house and telling me how the maid should be cleaning my house. It's not his
Exactly.
job. The maid is, that's their authority.
Right.
But if George Washington was just a kick-ass guy, man, I tell you what.
He was.
He just was. I mean, if he was an American soldier, you'd go, dude, that guy is the bomb. He'd just ride right into battle and everything.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. He was, George Washington was a stand-up guy. There's no doubt about that. So was Franklin.
Yeah. Yeah. Franklin was good. I mean, they were all really good, but it's an interesting thing when you think about the Constitution. They didn't create anything new in the Constitution. There were 700 years before that of constitutions in England. They just took all the better parts of them and made one that had, it was, 5.0, version 5.0. They just kept getting the bugs out of it. And then they just happened to, once they put in the Electoral College and representative government and a republic, that seemed to solve all the problems. And
it's worked
now,
all these years.
Yeah, and now they want to do away with it with popular vote because it feels good.
Well, because they want it socialized. They want it to be a socialized economy.
Right.
Because even though socialism has never worked anywhere it's ever been tried, it's because those people didn't know how to do it.
Well, that's because we didn't have
no.
a smart person doing it like American leaders are so smart.
Yeah. The Democrats know how to do it, see. Bernie Sanders is so smart that he doesn't even know how to come up with a health care plan that's functional and works in his own state, but he's so smart he's going to make it work in the country.
Yeah. I kind of wanted to talk about some of these dopey red flag laws, but that's still so nebulous and up in the air. But
well, I think Trump's backpedaling on that now.
Good. I'm glad. Yeah, he's saw the light. Because
I think somebody took him in the room and whacked his ass with a boat paddle or something.
Maybe that's what it would take. Get his attention.
He seems to be backpedaling on that. I think one of the things I saw the other day, day before, I don't know, just very recent, where they asked him about it. He said, no, there's other more important things going on right now than that.
Right. Well, I was shocked that there's 14 states with red flag laws already. It's like
Arizona's one of them.
Where was all these people paying attention?
Arizona is one of them.
We are. I didn't read that on the list, but maybe I was so mad by the time
Arizona,
I got halfway.
If you are deemed, we're going to have to do this quickly because we're running out of time, and Michael's going to make us leave. But if in Arizona, you are deemed to be a danger to yourself or to society, you are not allowed to possess a firearm.
I wish we could apply that to police across the country. Because
and by the way, did you know in the state of Arizona, if you are convicted of a domestic violence, you are also not allowed to possess a firearm.
Wow.
Means if you're a wife beater or you're a husband beater or whatever, or a family beater, they'll take your guns away. Listen, we got to go. We're out of time, Mark.
All righty. Adios, everybody. Love you all.
We'll catch you next time. Remember, log on to the new ContraRadioNetwork.com. Plug. And tell John Jeffers we sent you.
Thanks for tuning in. Catch them next time as they dig into the issues. The Two Crazy Guys. Log on to the website at www.ContraRadioNetwork.com.